Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something we all think we understand, but few truly do: the real goal of education. For generations, education has been seen as a path to success, a degree, a job, a salary. But if we stop and think for a moment, is that really what education is meant to achieve? The truth is, education is not just about filling our minds with facts or memorizing textbooks. The real goal of education goes much deeper. It is about shaping who we are, guiding how we think, and preparing us not just for a career, but for life itself. Education should open our eyes to the world, helping us understand people, ideas, and values. It should teach us to think critically, act ethically, and live purposefully. Real education doesn't just create professionals. It creates good human beings, responsible citizens, and lifelong learners. Let's explore the 6 key goals that define the true purpose of education. The first and most essential goal of education is to build character. True education helps us distinguish right from wrong, honesty from deceit, and kindness from cruelty. It shapes the moral foundation on which a person's life stands. Without character, knowledge becomes dangerous. But with integrity, even limited knowledge can make a person great. And it should make a person great. Education must therefore aim to create individuals who use their wisdom for the greater good, not just for personal gain. Education should train our minds to question, reason, and analyze. It's not about memorizing answers, but learning how to find them. Critical thinking allows us to make informed decisions, solve real-world problems, and avoid blind acceptance of everything we hear. In a world filled with information and misinformation, education should empower us to think independently and wisely. The real goal of education is not to end with graduation. It is to awaken a thirst for knowledge that lasts a lifetime. True learners never stop growing. Whether it's through reading, experience, or exploration, lifelong learning keeps the mind alive and the spirit young. Education is not a destination. It's a continuous journey toward personal and intellectual growth. Education should teach us not only how to think, but also how to feel. It should help us understand others' perspectives, respect differences, and promote compassion. In today's divided world, empathy is just as important as intelligence. When education cultivates kindness, tolerance, and humanity, it becomes a powerful tool for peace and harmony. True education encourages imagination and originality. It teaches students not to copy the world, but to create a better one. By nurturing creativity, education helps us find new ways to solve problems, express ourselves, and improve our societies. Every great invention, work of art, or scientific breakthrough has come from an educated mind that dared to think differently. Lastly, education's ultimate goal is to prepare individuals who contribute positively to their communities and nations. An educated person is not just one who knows their rights, but also their responsibilities. They understand the importance of justice, equality, and sustainability. Education must therefore empower students to become active citizens who care about making the world a better place. In the end, the real goal of education is not simply to earn a living, but to live a life of purpose. It is to build minds that think, hearts that care, and souls that strive to make a difference. Education is the light that guides humanity toward progress, not just for some, but for all. The first and most vital goal of education is to develop character and integrity. Knowledge without character is like a ship without a compass. It may move forward, but it will lose its direction. True education goes far beyond classrooms, books, and exams. It reaches into the heart of who we are and who we choose to become. It teaches us to be honest even when no one is watching, to act with courage in the face of difficulty, and to stay humble even when we achieve success. Character is the invisible foundation upon which every great life is built. An educated person is not merely one who knows much, but one who applies knowledge with wisdom and compassion. Integrity gives meaning to intelligence. It ensures that our actions are guided by values, not vanity. Education must therefore nurture in every learner the qualities of honesty, discipline, empathy, respect, and responsibility. When schools and teachers focus on building character, they are shaping not just students, but future leaders, innovators, and changemakers who use their abilities for good. It is character that transforms learning into leadership and ambition into service. Without it, all academic achievements lose their true worth. Education that strengthens the moral core of a person ensures that knowledge becomes a force for progress, not destruction. The second true goal of education is to cultivate critical thinking. In today's fast-paced and information-driven world, the ability to think clearly, question deeply, and reason logically is more valuable than ever. Education is not about memorizing facts or repeating what others say. It is about learning how to think for ourselves. Critical thinking transforms learners into independent minds who can analyze situations, identify patterns, and make sound judgments. It encourages curiosity, the courage to ask you why, and a what if, instead of merely accepting what is presented. Through critical thinking, students learn to separate truth from opinion, logic from manipulation, and evidence from emotion. It teaches them to explore multiple perspectives before forming conclusions, fostering open-mindedness rather than blind agreement. True education challenges learners to question authority respectfully, to seek understanding rather than mere answers, and to solve problems creatively rather than mechanically. When education promotes critical thinking, it empowers individuals to navigate the complexities of life. From making ethical decisions to analyzing global issues, it strengthens our ability to adapt, innovate, and progress. In classrooms that value questioning over rote memorization, students learn to use their minds as tools of exploration rather than storage. They become thoughtful citizens who can identify bias, understand consequences, and contribute meaningfully to society. Ultimately, education that nurtures critical thinking builds not just smart people, but wise ones. Individuals who can think, reason, and act with purpose in a world that desperately needs thoughtful minds. The third, real goal of education is to inspire lifelong learning. True education doesn't end with a diploma or a degree. It begins there. It is not about completing a course. It's about awakening a mindset that constantly seeks growth, understanding, and self-improvement. Lifelong learning means maintaining a curious mind that hungers for knowledge at every stage of life. No matter the age or circumstance, education should light a fire within us. A fire that keeps burning long after we leave the classroom. When education is truly effective, it does not create students who only study to pass exams. It creates individuals who study to understand life. It teaches us that learning happens everywhere, in conversations, failures, books, experiences, and even in silence. A lifelong learner doesn't fear change. Instead, they adapt, evolve, and find meaning in every challenge. This attitude transforms ordinary individuals into innovators, problem solvers, and visionaries who keep progressing while others stop growing. A system that promotes lifelong learning empowers people to keep exploring new fields, new skills, and new ideas. It helps us stay relevant in a changing world where knowledge becomes outdated quickly. More importantly, it enriches our personal lives. It helps us understand ourselves better, strengthen relationships, and make wiser decisions. The habit of continuous learning gives us resilience, confidence, and the courage to pursue dreams, even when the world changes around us. Education, when truly understood, is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey of curiosity, creativity, and transformation. The fourth real goal of education is to encourage empathy and understanding. True education is not only about sharpening the mind, it is also about softening the heart. In a world where differences in culture, belief, and opinion often divide people, education must serve as the bridge that connects humanity. It should teach students that knowledge is most powerful when it is guided by compassion. Learning facts and theories is important, but understanding the emotions, struggles, and perspectives of others is what truly defines an educated soul. Empathy allows us to step into someone else's shoes, to feel what they feel, and to see the world through their eyes. Through education, students should learn to respect diversity, to listen before judging, and to help rather than harm. When schools and teachers emphasize emotional intelligence alongside academic excellence, they help build a generation that values kindness as much as intelligence. An empathetic student becomes an adult who can resolve conflicts peacefully, cooperate with others, and contribute positively to their community. Education should also help us understand that our world is interconnected. What affects one person, one nation, or one environment eventually affects us all. By teaching empathy, we cultivate global citizens who care about issues beyond their own lives: poverty, inequality, climate change, and injustice. Such understanding inspires people to act responsibly and compassionately, to use their education not for competition but for collaboration. Ultimately, empathy gives education its humanity. It transforms knowledge into connection and learning into service. When we understand others with open hearts and open minds, we build a world not just of progress, but of peace. The fifth real goal of education is to foster creativity and innovation. True education is not about producing individuals who can merely follow instructions. It's about nurturing minds that can imagine, question, and create something new. Creativity is the heartbeat of progress. It is what turns ideas into inventions, dreams into realities, and problems into possibilities. When education encourages creativity, it allows students to explore beyond textbooks, to experiment without fear of failure, and to express themselves freely through art, science, writing, technology, and every other form of human expression. In traditional systems, students are often taught to memorize rather than to imagine. But a world that is constantly changing demands thinkers who can adapt, redesign, and innovate. Creativity gives us the power to think differently, to find fresh solutions to old problems, and to shape the future instead of simply reacting to it. When schools create environments where curiosity is celebrated and mistakes are seen as stepping stones, they empower learners to take risks and grow through discovery. Education that nurtures creativity helps students recognize their unique talents and encourages them to pursue their passions. It teaches them that there is not just one right answer, but many possible paths to success. By merging creativity with knowledge, education builds confidence, independence, and resilience, qualities essential for real-world success. Moreover, innovation is not limited to technology or science. It can be found in every field, from teaching methods to community projects, from artistic expression to social entrepreneurship. When students are inspired to think creatively, they begin to see themselves as creators of change rather than passive observers of the world. In this way, education becomes a catalyst for growth, imagination, and the endless pursuit of better possibilities. The sixth, and perhaps most profound goal of education is to prepare responsible citizens. True education is not measured merely by academic grades or professional success. It is reflected in how individuals contribute to society and uphold their responsibilities toward others. An educated person understands that freedom and responsibility go hand in hand. They know that knowledge gives power, but that power must be guided by conscience, respect, and a sense of duty toward the community and the nation. Education should teach students to be aware of the world beyond themselves, to recognize the challenges that humanity faces, and to feel accountable for being part of the solution. Responsible citizens are not created by laws or policies. They are shaped by values instilled through meaningful education. Schools and teachers have the power to inspire students to care about justice, equality, and environmental sustainability. And they can show that education is not just for personal advancement, but for collective progress. When learners understand the importance of fairness, empathy, and civic engagement, they become the kind of citizens who strengthen societies. They vote wisely, respect diversity, and participate in building communities where everyone is valued. A responsible citizen is someone who does not wait for others to make change. They take initiative, lead with integrity, and serve with humility. No. Education that emphasizes civic responsibility also encourages awareness of global citizenship. In an interconnected world, our actions impact lives across borders. Therefore, real education must cultivate a mindset that balances national pride with global responsibility. When individuals act with awareness of their social, moral, and environmental duties, they transform education into a living force for justice, unity, and progress. In the end, the real goal of education goes far beyond earning degrees, securing jobs, or achieving personal success. Its true purpose lies in shaping the human mind, heart, and spirit to build a better world. Education should teach us not just how to make a living, but how to live meaningfully, with wisdom, compassion, and purpose. When we learn to think critically, act with integrity, dream creatively, and serve responsibly, we embody the highest form of learning. Education is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey that transforms ignorance into understanding, fear into confidence, and selfishness into service. The real success of education is not found in the classroom or the workplace, but in the kind of people we become, thoughtful, kind, and courageous enough to make a difference. True education lights the path of humanity forward, guiding us toward a world where knowledge is not just power, but peace.